Hello guys, today we will be talking about chapter 261 of Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers. Nobody saw what was coming on what just happened on chapter 261 in Jujutsu Kaisen. JD Akutami just trolled the entire internet and pulled the Uno reverse card on all of the fans and theories that just came out, trying to figure out all of the possibilities and theories of what's going to happen after we saw Gojo's ghost. Without further ado, let's talk about all the crazy things that just happened in Jujutsu Kaisen 261. First of all, thanks to Miyamura Sensei for the updates and leaks. The chapter starts where we last saw Sukuna using Fuga to incinerate pretty much everyone, and Yuji punching a hole in Sukuna's chest with Todo's help. Then Sukuna was about to cast Domain Expansion. That's when he saw the ghost of the departed strongest sorcerer Satoru Gojo. Chapter 261 starts with Yuji deciding that he will crush Sukuna's heart. It just shows us how determined Yuji and how much he is fed up with Sukuna's rampage and the losses he has caused. Then as soon as Sukuna chants Domain Expansion, he sees Gojo standing, and in disbelief Sukuna wonders if it's really him, but pushes that thought away and he says that it is impossible, as he know he just finished him with his world cutting slash. This is sad for all the Gojo's fan and the people who wanted him back so bad, but this confirms that Gojo is truly dead and there is no doubt anymore about him ever coming back. Sukuna then suddenly realizes who it is and punches Yuji away as he moves forward and says, "I apologize for underestimating you. I didn't know you were capable of going that far, YOTTA OKKUTSU." So this is just crazy news, as we know now who that ghost was. It wasn't Gojo, but it was Yuta inhabiting Gojo's body. I know it is crazy, but we will talk about it more in the video and explain about how Yuta was able to do this body swap. And this is still high praise from Sukuna, to be honest, to Yuta admitting that Yuta was really going all out and throwing away his humanity by taking over his sensei's body to finish off Sukuna. Then a flashback happened to back when Yuta decides to have Rika devour the dead body of Kenjaku and copy his curse technique, which will allow Yuta to obtain the ability to swap bodies from Kenjaku's curse technique. We all know that Yuta is able to use Rita by devouring the body or a piece of the user and to obtain his ability and to copy his curse technique for a very short period of amount of time. So basically this explains that how Yuta was able to get Gojo's body by using Rita to eat Kenjaku, then obtaining his curse technique body to use it on Gojo's body. This further confirms that there is no way that Gojo can be back, as Kenjaku's curse technique cannot work on living bodies if the souls didn't leave them yet. So Gojo's body was 100% dead for Yuta to swap to it. Then Maki basically objects to this plan, but Hakari says he has one condition and he agrees to it. And the condition basically they are going to use this plan only when everyone is wiped out and no longer have any other options. So basically it's their last resort. Maki then asks Yuta, since he can copy the curse technique only for 5 minutes, what will happen later? Yuta answers that he doesn't know, which is true. Nobody knows what will happen to Yuta's soul after 5 minutes of Kenjaku's technique copy is done. Will he be able to return back to his body? Will he remain in Gojo's body forever, or will his body just will get lost after 5 minutes of Kenjaku's body swap curse technique is done? Truly nobody knows. I guess we will just have to wait for the next chapters to be able to have our answer. Kusakabe says then, it is a good plan to use, but it is not humane. Of course it isn't humane. You are inhabiting a dead body, and not just any dead body. It is basically the body of your beloved sensei. Then Yuta says, what do you mean humane? We are going to fight versus the strongest sorcerer in history. If we can win by throwing away our humanity, we shouldn't be even arguing. Yuta then asks, is everyone afraid of becoming a monster to fight Sukuna? Maki of course rebukes Yuta by saying, that's not the case. We are just concerned about you. Yuta says, what about Gojo sensei? Is he not important? Haven't we been pushing all the burden of becoming a monster on Gojo sensei alone? If Gojo sensei is gone, then who else will be a monster? If no one intends to become a monster, then I will be. And this just shows how much of a badass Yuta is. No one would have thought that this shy, timid, scrawny kid is able to throw it all and go all out away to get the job done. Basically, this is just showing that Yuta is truly a savage, which I agree with him personally. In order to defeat the King of Curses, you have to be willing to go all out and sacrifice everything in order to achieve your goal, even if it is at the cost of humanity. The scene then switches to Yuta telling Gojo that he will take his body if he dies. Gojo says he's okay with that and he has no intention of losing anyways, and he doesn't care what happens to his body after he dies. Yuta and Gojo talks more about if Yuta is a descendant of Fujiwara or Saguwara, which are just old clans that are related, as we all know that Yuta and Gojo are related somehow across their bloodlines. Gojo says Yuta might have been born under better circumstances than him. So Gojo says if Yuta can't utilize that advantage, he is totally lame. I personally, to be honest, not sure how to understand this. Hopefully we will get more clearing when the translation comes down. I don't know, to be honest, how to interpret this. Gojo says, let's start off with your sloppy cursed energy. I always told you to be careful about that. This is basically just Gojo back then when he was training Yuta. Gojo then asks his student to go away because he doesn't want them to see a bloody side, especially since he doesn't know what he's about to do is right, which is basically just massacring all the corrupted higher ups. Scene switches then to Amai, which is Yuji's friend, explaining his curse technique, which is amplifying the sugar with himself and output it in some kind of way. And this is just basically turning it into this type of jello or whatever. So he just squeezes all the sugars out of him using curse technique and making a jello out of it. I guess let's just wait for the right translation to understand more about Amai's curse technique. Then we get the explanation to what happened to Yuta after he got cut by Sukuna when he was teleported away by Wiwi's help. He was severely cut and injured and barely surviving. Arata then used his curse technique to stop any severe complication. As we all know that Arata's curse technique is basically limiting any complication and any further severe injuries and sealing them. Yuta then tells him that he is conscious thanks to Rita's help. Shokuta then tells Yuta that she just finished stitching Gojo's body, so you can transfer now. But the moment you swap, you need to use reverse curse technique to its maximum output to help recovering the body. Immediately right after it, back to the present where both Sukuna and Yuta in Gojo's body opened their domain. This is just crazy. Then the narrator says that Gojo had already shown the solution to Sukuna's open barrier domain, as we already saw in their fight between Sukuna and Gojo. And the chapter ends in both Sukuna's malevolent shrine versus Yuta using Gojo's unlimited void. Yeah guys, the chapter ends in another crazy cliffhanger, which just keeps everyone confused, hyped and stressed on what's going on to happen next. I don't know, it's just crazy with everything that's happening and going on. I highly suspect that we will soon get to see Yuji's domain expansion, which probably will just be broken as shit. But yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems like JJ is just cooking really hard this time. I'm really excited for the next chapters, and for chapter 261, this is basically pretty much what just happened. I'll make sure to drop a full analysis video about chapter 261 and do a full review about it. With that being said, take care guys, and let's hope that JJ won't ruin us all.